My name is Amy. I'm originally from Boston. I was there for the past 30 years and recently moved to Portland. In terms of lipedema, that was a term I hadn't heard until about a year ago. And since then, I found Dr. Amron. So when I hit puberty, I had bigger thighs probably than normal. But I'm an extremely active person. I played tennis, I ran, and I just figured that was how I was built, right? I looked a little different than my friends. My thighs were a little bigger, but I felt like, well, I was strong, so that probably accounted for it. And then once I had my son, things started to accelerate a bit. I started to notice that my legs really hurt when I exercised. I had lots of bruising on my calves, on my thighs. I started to not look proportional, right? I used to wear a size 8, top and bottom. And then after my son was born, the bottom, I was really more comfortable in a 10 or a 12. And that kind of continued until the onset of menopause, and then it really accelerated. I used to ask my doctor every year at my annual exam, why do my legs hurt? My legs hurt, I would tell her. And not just like when you exercise they hurt, but like if you were to reach out and touch my leg, just to say, hey, let's go here, I would go through the couch. It really hurt. I was in Boston with great physicians, I thought, but they simply didn't know about this. And they said, well, it's probably shin splints because you do so much, right? That's probably what it is. And I said, it doesn't feel like shin splints. And this went on literally for 25 years. Every appointment I asked about my legs, every appointment I was told, it's shin splints. And I'd say, well, what about, I used to have these kind of like cuffs in my ankles. I would say, is that water? And they would say, no, it's just fat. You just have fat ankles. Like, again, everybody has something. I'm like, but they hurt. They said, well, exercise more. I'm like, well, I already exercise all the time. But, so I didn't, I took their word for it. They were the physicians. So I moved to Portland, Oregon, and I went to my new physician there, and I said, my legs hurt. And they were quite bruised. And she said, huh. And I said, if you touch them, they really hurt. And she said, I don't know what this is, but I'll send you to a sports physical therapy clinic. Maybe they know. Because again, the thought was, well, it's probably shin splints. So I went to this clinic, and they took one look at me and they said, this is not muscular. We think it's lymphedema. And they suggested, we do some tests for swelling. But my legs never swelled, right? It wasn't lymphedema. But by hearing about that, I was able to start researching it. And then I found lipedema. And the more I read about it, the more I realized these are people just like me, right? The pictures you see online are typically of women who are, sedentary and have a lot of extra weight. It's a fat disorder. I was really horrified when I found out that I had lipedema. So I went back to my doctor and working with these physical therapists, she said, it seems like that is what it is. I don't know very much about it. And I said, great, well, I've been researching it, and I found this doctor who happens to be in California, and I'm gonna go and consult and have a diagnosis. So I actually flew down here with my husband, and we came in for a consultation for him to take a look at my legs and arms and diagnose it. And sure enough, he diagnosed it. Different areas were different stages, but one was late stage 2, and it was really affecting what I could do. By this point, we would go for walks, and after a couple miles, I was really tired. My legs really hurt. They felt heavy. And I could play tennis for 2 hours, but I really paid for that the rest of the day. So working with Dr. Amron is when we decided to go forward with the procedures.